Hello, hello, hello. This is Misty Magdalena Grace with the new and improved version of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where we talk about spirituality, psychedelics, plant medicine, microdosing, and really that journey within to finding your best innate wisdom, to your best health, your best wealth through all sorts of inner child healing, trauma release, grief recovery, overcoming addictions, and working with the mind, the body, and spirit. So go ahead, leave a review, subscribe, download. We look forward to your feedback. Thanks for tuning in today. All right, everyone. Hello. This is Misty Magdalena Grace. Super excited for my first monologue since I relaunched this podcast. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today to talk about something that's been on my heart for over 2 years now. For you see, when I started the shamanic healing path, when I chose the path of going within, when I chose the path of remembering who I truly am at the heart of me, not what society said I was, not what my parents said I was, or all these rules that institutions said I should follow to be a good girl, in this world of what I call the patriarchal systems that we've been following and focused on for the last 3,000 to even 4,000 years, depending on who you talk to. And one of the ways that I turned to healing, of course, was microdosing with psilocybin. And for better or for worse, I didn't know anything about it, right? I did some research, but I was in such a place of darkness and such a place of pain and suffering and hurting and grief and all of this dead energy that I had blocking me from my heart space, blocking my chakras, shutting down my lower 3 chakras. The first one, of course, is the root. That's the home where fear can reside, right? The second one is the sacral. That is where, essentially your creative center, your sensuality resides. And then, of course, the solar plexus. The third one is your power center. And I had given my power away in so many areas of my life that I was a walking zombie, if I really look back. And so I knew I had to go within, and I needed to quiet this brain. Our main focus of our life a lot of times is on the mental. And at the time when I was in this, search for healing, this search with going within, I really discovered that I was doing it on my own. And I had no mentor, I had no community. And even when I thought I found the right community for me, something changed, something shifted, and it didn't feel right. So then I would go and find another community. Then I would try to piecemeal my healing like a Humpty Dumpty, trying to put myself back together again. Or the Mr. Potato Head guy, if you remember that, when you were a kid, you're trying to put together all the body parts together and not always doing it in the right order. So you look funny, you feel weird. And even though I was doing all this healing, I still felt very isolated, very separate. And when I started the psilocybin microdosing journey, I was really doing it on my own. I bought from a reputable source, but there was no structure. There was no education. There was no community. There was no what happens if anxiety comes up for me, or what happens if I have a bad trauma release, or what happens if I'm still drinking a lot of alcohol. I know some people turn to microdosing because of addiction, and they're just really replacing one addiction for another because they're not going deep within. They're not going into the roots, oftentimes ancestral. So if you're doing all this on your own and you're piecemealing, you can actually cause more damage. So it's really important, and it does not have to be me. Please know this. I just want you to find someone. I'm being an advocate for safety first, an advocate for do no harm, because we do see a lot of people who actually go like 2 steps forward, but then they'll maybe take 5 steps back. Because we got to remember, we were born, and even in utero, trauma could have started. And from 0 to 7, we're very much figuring out our emotions. We're crying if we need food. We're crying if we're unhappy. And let's be honest, a lot of times our needs weren't met, right, in a timely fashion. There's attachment parenting and all of these movements that have come since then, which I think are cool. But still, as a baby who's trying to figure this meat suit out and emoting and not really even understanding, you're developing, but you don't really fully develop until you're like 30 years old. Some people say 25 is when your brain and your body is fully developed. Well, other people say 30. Different experts that I work with in the trauma field and chiropractic, health, nutrition, all of that. So it's really important for you to remember 0 to 7, we had a lot of our programming, a lot of our trauma responses develop. And then from 7 to 14 is when we're really starting to use our brain. We're reading and writing. We're going to school. Maybe we're getting more involved in church or whatever organizations you are. Or maybe you're watching more TV like I did as a kid. You're getting education through all different mediums and you're just soaking it up. Your brain and you're soaking it up like a sponge, right? And we get programmed. I mean, that's why they say the best time to learn a second or third language is when you're under the age of 10. It's the easiest time because your brain is so open, so open. Then what happens if you've had all this mental growth and mental stimulation, then at age 14, you go into puberty usually, give or take. And then 14 to 21, you have another 7-year cycle of more of that physical. You may start working out. You maybe start joining the track team. You maybe start playing instruments, music, running, even, sexuality, having sex, getting involved in relationships. Then you leave and go to college. Then after that, that's when like you're starting to go out in the real world. Some of you start a lot earlier and that's great. But even then you can have a lot of breakups. You can have sexual trauma. Unfortunately, you get into the military. You have all of this physical stuff happening to your body for you, of course, right? We've learned that it doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. So healing is not linear, and healing really can't be done on your own. It's not a DIY thing. Now, I say that with an asterisk and also saying that you can heal yourself 100%. The body can heal. You have this innate ability to heal. But then there's that layer that I struggled with. I was so numb to life at the age of 40 that I was like, I can't feel anything. Or if I felt something, I would look for an escape, whether it was social media, working, staying busy, being on the phone, scrolling, social media, alcohol, all of that kind of stuff, getting involved into so many activities. I learned that habit at a young age as well. Just keep busy. Just keep busy. I forget, like the Idle Hands or the Devil's Workshop or something like that. Again, another program that we were brainwashed with, for better or worse. And there's a lot of these things that we grew up with that are also ancestral. So we are emotional beings, we're mental beings, we're physical. And then there's the whole other layer of the superconscious, the higher self, the psychic self, the divine within, whatever you call it. I honor all belief systems here. The main idea is healing isn't linear and there's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. And you can stop and start and yo-yo. I was in the fitness industry for 17 years. So I saw the yo-yo dieting, the yo-yo fitness thing, the up and down, the New Year's resolutions. This is going to be the year I lose the weight, right? We tell ourselves. We're habitual creatures. And the tricky part is the familiarity of habits that are unconscious is not easy to break. That's where microdosing with a sacred substance, and oh, by the way, I have a legal one, so you don't have to worry about the legalities of this. That's why a lot of people will try to do microdosing on their own, because a lot of it, let's face it, is illegal. And so I'm giving you an opportunity to heal what you feel, to stop escaping, to stop medicating your medications. Oh, by the way, prescription drugs, even though they're legal, those are addictions as well that cause a lot of affliction on the body and the mind. I've lost 12 friends to suicide, and most of them were taking their own life after a medication change, right? Because even though they're legal, they're ultimately rolling the dice. It's like one big science experiment. And yes, pharmaceuticals have their place. I still have a low dose, natural, but still needing a prescription thyroid medication. I'm still on it. I've been on it since 2011. And I can't really say how much it may have hurt me all these years. But the more I heal the spiritual, emotional root causes and traumas, the dose keeps going down. The more vibrant and healthy I feel, and the more wealthy. This podcast is called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. So my whole vision here is to help you work through those emotional and mental and physical through going within to the spiritual, whether it's a microdose, like 500 milligrams or less of psilocybin. Then, of course, you've got the ayahuasca, the capivine, that's fully legal. That also is just a tincture bottle of 10 drops or less. And then how do you structure your plan? How do you do it safely? How do you sit with the medicine safely? I had another episode called How to Create Sacred Space. And I'm not going to talk about that today. You can go to my podcast, my YouTube channel, and find it there. But the main idea is to be able to support yourself in a safe, community-oriented way. Now, I will say I can guarantee you my community is not for everyone. I'm weird, so I'm going to attract the weird and the people who are open to seeing ghosts and talking and channeling and, dancing and playing and sensuality and all the stuff that you heard about on my podcast relaunch last week, which is totally cool. You got to find your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And I got to tell you, after all of this healing, oh my gosh, I love my tribe. And I want to bring you all together. I don't want you to feel alone. And I also don't want you to yo-yo heal or be addicted to healing either. Because if you're truly healing yourself, you're not going to be reliant upon plant medicine. You're not going to be reliant upon chiropractic. You're not going to be reliant upon acupuncture. And guess what? You're not going to be reliant upon your pharmaceuticals. If you take this seriously, if you ask for help. One of our biggest challenges as the human race is to ask for help because we don't want to look weak, which is a feminine energy. And so what we want to help you is facilitate that balancing the feminine and the masculine to really fall in love with yourself, which isn't easy to do if you're harboring a bunch of resentment, shame, guilt, shut down your 3 lower chakras, living in your head as opposed to your heart, and not allowing yourself to feel the feels and to have processes and tools like plant medicine, breath work. Do you have a meditation practice? Do you embody the healing? Do you play with your inner child and allow it to cry and scream and kick and whatever? What about your nutrition? Your daily habits define you or destruct you. That's the bottom line. And I really, really want you to heal. If any of this resonates with you, please, please come and join me on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific for a free webinar. I'm going to go deeper on this stuff. And I'm also going to be sharing and unveiling my brand new microdosing focus, plant medicine focus subscription. You can actually go and check it out. I have information about it on this website, microdosingforhealth.now.site. And then also, just so you know, I'm going to have a sale this whole month of August, just before my birthday, before I turn 46. I'm going to allow you early adopters to save 50% off of all 3 of my tiers, which 2, oh, by the way, include the medicine itself from a trusted, safe source. So you don't have to worry about getting sick or dying or overdosing. So you can also go to microdosingforhealth.com. That's my domain that talks about the 3 tiers. So if you want to heal, if you want to feel fully vibrant, healthy, and wealthy, and learn how to trust your own wisdom instead of looking outside yourself for your answers all the time, which I was a professional at and still can be if I don't check myself. I don't have my accountability community to help me with that. So I hope you can join me on Friday. Again, my goal is to have 1,000 subscribers in this community, helping everyone through these times of transformation into the age of Aquarius. If you've been feeling the feels, if you've had trauma show up lately, it's because we're heading into the age of Aquarius. And if you continue to suppress, ignore, not take seriously, it could cause dis-ease. It could cause a lot of lack and scarcity and fear. And again, we don't want you to go through that alone. So hope you can join us on Friday for that webinar. Go to microdosingforhealth.now.site, sign up. It's 10 a.m. Pacific. And then, of course, tune in here to Healthy and Wealthy and Wise for more inspiration, education. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also find me on TikTok. I just joined TikTok today as well, as Magdalena Grace, to help you and those you care about heal. And if you found value in today's show, please leave a review, download, subscribe, and hit the share button if you're on my live platforms inside of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community, on YouTube. Sharing is caring, and you just never know who you might help. So I hope you guys are enjoying this amazing Lionsgate portal. Look forward to seeing you and celebrating you inside of my community so you can live your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.